Anti-Afro Bengalis, I apologize for my delay with this video regarding young Pharaoh's medical records, how Mona de Leon stole them, and King Kong Crazy was begging to purchase those records. I had to go and find some clips, and my library had been rearranged. It was supposed to be easier to find things. Sometimes that's not the case. But the important thing, the information is there. And I was able to retrieve. I wanted to let you hear a few things related to the commentary I'm going to bring to you about young Pharaoh's medical records being hijacked and the insistence that King Kong Crazy pay money to get them. So stay tuned and I will return.
Were you in cahoots with them the whole time? It hurts me to my soul, my core, to know we had all type of meaningful conversations, all type of dialogue, all that. And you turn around and you see her over there with them, and you's like, what the fuck? You say there's no infiltration information to give, but then you turn around and be like, oh, I give out information. You was trying to acquire secret information or cause damage. You mean to tell me you didn't say nothing, even though when I asked you, you said maybe? I asked you, bro. I asked you. You told Anti that I tried to slide, maybe. That maybe lets me know you told her a shitload of stuff. You can trash talk this channel all day long, but you know what? Rev G, Anti-Afro Svengali, none of this can do. It's the credibility. All I gotta do is pull up all these receipts. Bruh, about how many people information you pulled up?
Let me just say briefly, the cadre of emotions that you just heard apply with respect to the motivation, but the other parties involved, I'm going to address those particular issues in another video. Also, Mona De Leon is a YouTube name. The person I'm referring to, her name is Alexis. Last initial is A. I'll get into that later. And then you have King Kong Crazy, LaQuintus. Last initial is H. I could say your legal names out here. I wouldn't even care. Even if they took the video down, I would just put it back up. But for the sake of brevity and to move things forward, for now, I'm going to give the last initials of your names. I warned Mona when I saw the things that he was doing, because I got warned. I got the hell up out of there. I tried to warn her. Apparently, it was far too late because she'd already disclosed. Oh my goodness. She disclosed so much information, but so did he. So note the fear. He's not referring to me when he talks about people being looked up. He says he has documentation of someone looking up people. Obviously, he's referring to Mona. Referring to me, you're talking about public record, and what's the big deal in that? Anybody can look up a public record. That's nothing new. That's been going on since we came here to the Umar Johnson sector as far as how we're involved. So it's no revelation. He was talking about illegally. He knew all along Mona was doing this, and he was involved. He, as a matter of fact, was complicit. He co-conspired. And yes, he begged Mona. Let me get this straight. King Kong Crazy. I'm going to make sure I say the handle name. LaQuintus, Mr. Holbert. You begged Mona for young Pharaoh's records. You always resented young Pharaoh. You are insanely jealous of young Pharaoh for very good reason. He has talent and creativity and brilliance beyond what you could ever imagine. And he always rebounds. He can get it done by himself. You can't get anything done by yourself. You need other people. Yes, we all need support, but he can pull himself together on his own. You cannot. And I know that you knew that. That's why you couldn't stand young Pharaoh. He's a magnet. He has supporters that will never leave. You can't say the same. All you have is a gathering hoping that you'll be able to make some impact, which you'll never be able to make. So they drift away. You were incredibly resentful at young Pharaoh for his 600,000 subs. 650,000 subscribers he had on his channel, and you could not stand it. The money was rolling in from all different sources, not just his creativity, from other places, and you resented it. You resent the way he worked with those who supported him. You know good and damn well you wanted those medical records. And when I say medical records, that's all inclusive. That's mental health, if it's relevant, and medical. And you were trying to get some other records involving young Pharaoh. I'm not going to get into that though. I'm only going to stick with the medical record, the base medical record. You offered Mona money. You begged her multiple times, over and over again, to get young Pharaoh's medical records. You did it. You did it, King Kong Crazy LaQuintus. You are a criminal. You're a co-conspirator. You have the nerve to come up here in these YouTube streets and pass a judgment on me and Rev G, our friends and supporters. And you talk about some credibility. You have no credibility. With good reason, you are worried about what Mona told me. Mona told me a great deal, and it wasn't under any infiltration. I never asked Mona to tell me anything. She volunteered the information. Now, I did ask her a couple times, are you telling these people about XYZ? I wouldn't recommend you do that. This is something they will probably repeat, and I'm not going to get into what I said. A lot of times she told them, yes, but I don't care. And I'm like, yes, you are going to care. And lo and behold, they started telling her business. You see, I did not participate in that group. He invited me to the group, and I thought, oh, yeah, this will be fun. Then I had to stop. Wait a minute. I had a warning about Mona at the beginning. We had no issues, like nothing major. And then there was someone else in that group I absolutely did not trust. Another person I didn't even know very well. And there was another person who I do trust. I said, you know what? I don't think I want to do this. And I just simply didn't participate. And he never forgave me for that either. He was always taking these little digs at me. It started out, he acted like he was kidding, but it got worse and worse and worse until I finally got the hell up out of there. Mona stayed. And obviously, as you heard King Kong Crazy state, how much information they exchanged. There is proof that you tried to buy young Pharaoh's medical records, and I have that proof. If you want to challenge me, sue me, take me to court, and compel me to produce that proof, and I will produce it to a judge. Other than that, it's going to go to young Pharaoh. And anybody that knows young Pharaoh knows he tends not to lose in court. He's had a couple of losses, but he's not going to lose in this instance. He's going to make sure you, King Kong Crazy, he's going to make sure Mona, Alexis, and LaQuintus, and he's going to make sure the agency is taken to task. I mean, it's so galling. I mean, what right do you think that you have to get into his medical records? You asked multiple times, many times over. You know what Mona told me? She feels that led you to attack her on that platform when you had Dr. Clay. She feels turning you down multiple times for the records led you to launch that vicious, abusive attack. As much as I have great disdain for Mona, what you did was freaking foul beyond description. Nothing that any decent man would ever consider doing. It was horrendous what you did up there on the public stage. And why the hell do you care who told me when, where, and how? I was there for part of the presentation when the women were there. And then my phone blew up at dinner. I couldn't hear because there was a jazz band playing in there. I couldn't hear phone calls. I'm getting all these notices that it blew up, went to hell in the handbasket. Then I got the information by email. So what? You eventually played it and you were proud. What's the big deal? Why were you trying to hide then? Why the hell do you care? You thought it was funny. You are Kevin Samuel's lover, and you love the fact that you were able to say those things because you had your whatever thumb on the microphone and you were cutting her on and off. You felt powerful to be able to abuse someone. Again, Mona says you did it because she refused to give you young Pharaoh's records. But let me say this. I'm not even quite convinced that she didn't give you anything. Maybe didn't give you all what you wanted, but I'm not convinced that she didn't turn information over. Why the hell would she tell me that? She's not going to tell me that, but she sure let me know, and I have the proof, King Kong Crazy. You were begging for those records, and you were pissed that you didn't at least get that of what you were asking for at that particular time. Who's to say whether you didn't ask for something before and got it or something after and got it? Because she gave you some things. You worried about what I know? Let me tell you this. Didn't King Kong Crud try to say I was trying to get with him? Or there's some, oh, it was ridiculous. Some message, some sex talk? Oh, no. Why don't you reveal the sex talk that you had, King Kong Crazy? What about the pictures? What about the personal information about you? Why don't you release that information? Up here trying to make it seem like I wanted you. Are you serious? It was a pity scam that you were running. And I finally listened all the way through to people who kept telling me you were on a pity scam. You don't have any information about me. Not like that. Like what Mona gave you about what you gave her. Yeah, right. You don't have anything like that. That's why you're so worried. Yes, you should be worried because you'd be embarrassed. There's no way in hell you can embarrass me, but I can embarrass you. But you know something? There are other strategies I can use. Helping young Pharaoh put together a complaint, although he wouldn't need my help. He'll just go get an attorney. But I want to make sure he has all the information he needs and then some. I have the documentation of what you did. And guess what? They can simply go to Google and get, like you just said it, you have all this documentation. You're going to start trying to erase stuff? You can't erase. It's impossible. You wanted young Pharaoh's records and you wanted to find out about him medically so you can try to make yourself feel superior. How are you going to do that with a bullet in the head? What about your medical records? What are you going to do if somebody tries to get into your shit? What are you going to do? You were crying about Rev G pulling up your insurance certificate that's expired that you claim you're such an expert on. You don't have no 11 certificates. You keep saying that Umar Johnson or anybody with an abandoned building, not an abandoned building, a vacant building can get liability insurance. What are you getting that from? There are insurance policies specifically for buildings that are vacant or otherwise not occupied. Now, it depends on the number of days that the building is vacant or unoccupied. There's the different terminology. You just say whatever you say, trying to make it appear that you're some expert. You're not an expert. You're an expert at being a rank ass fool. You know good and damn well that you were itching to get into young Pharaoh's medical records. Who's to say whether you got something before then or thereafter? But this particular point in time that I'm talking about, you were on it. You wanted the records. You have no right to access the records. What you did is a federal offense. And you love to hang around those who perpetrate federal crimes, like the Social Security bandits and the Social Security criminals. You're running up on their pages. See, that's your proclivity when it comes to crime. Just like the dude who put the 40 caliber right where he wanted it says you stole from him. You're trying to act like a goody two shoes. How are you a goody two shoes? How are you talking about credibility when you were begging Mona for young Pharaoh's records? Again, sue me. Take me to court. Get a judge to tell me to shut the hell up. When you put those papers together, you will have lied to the court trying to deny that you did not tried to buy young Pharaoh's medical records. And I want to reemphasize, who's to say whether he obtained them successfully with payment before or after. And then there's another block of access to other records, which I'm not going to mention here. Yeah, this is all on you, Mona. This is all on you, KKC. And then I had a request from a few supporters wanting me to talk about HIPAA. I'm going to do that in another video. I wanted to isolate this, but I do think it's humorous how there are subjects who have absolutely no idea about HIPAA and try to bring information to the public domain. And with respect to mandated reporters, don't have any information either. Now, there are some mandated reporters who are incredibly ignorant when it comes to HIPAA and when it comes to mandated reporting duties. Dempsey would be one of them, Dempsey D. Durrell. As far as others who I'm not familiar with, just hearing the information that was brought to me, obviously it's clear they don't know anything of what they're referring to. But I will get into that in another video. Meanwhile, King Kong Crazy, you can continue to deny that you either successfully or not purchased young Pharaoh's medical records. The fact is that you solicited for those medical records. This is when she was pissed at you. She started telling on you more and more and more. The more pissed off she became, the more information she started releasing. I didn't have to ask her anything. My only questions were, are you telling them things? And then I asked her at one point, are you still going over there or something? Because some things had been going on. And she was fading fast because she realized the shit that you pulled on her was low down and dirty and there was no coming back. But unfortunately, by the time that happened, you had already been on these phone calls or whatever you want to call them, Google voice chats. She had already spilled all of the beans. She had already given you other things I won't go into, and you had already done other things. But let's see if she has the guts to ever come out here and spill all your beans. She probably won't do that because she thinks you have information about her that she doesn't want released either. See, I'm not in that situation. King Kong Crazy, I never told you anything that I would give a shit about you repeating. There are other people I have told things to that I, God forbid, don't want them to repeat it. And Lennon Honor is one of them. And the same with him. I'm not worried about Lennon. Lennon is not worried about me. Of course, there's Rev G and a good number of people on the page. They can tell you a lot. Al can tell you more about me than you can, King Kong Crazy. And that's Al, the Al Show. If you could believe that. Now, I trust a reporter, legitimate reporter, but you don't have any information. And even our mortal enemies made that very clear. You had no information, but I got information as far as you trying to purchase young Pharaoh's medical records at a certain time. And I'll keep driving the point home. Whether he successfully purchased them before or some aspect of his records before or thereafter, I can't tell you that. But Mona says she didn't sell it, but he continued to ask. Mona admitted that she accessed the records. That's what Mona said. Don't have shit to do with me. And I'll cover that in another video. Ha ha ha. You can keep on trying. You're the one that's a criminal. You're the one who engaged in illegal behavior. You're the one that has the documentation in the Google system or whatever email systems you use, in the voice, whatever prints. That is you. That is not me. That's not Rev G. That's not AFW. That's not friends or supporters. We are in the clean, clear. All of our access is 100% public access, legal accessibility. And that is what you freaks hate. King Kong Crazy and Mona De Leon. You are the ones who decided to break the law and you try to act like other people are engaging in your criminal conduct. You stand alone in your cesspool, in your den of vipers, your demonic ploys to try to force people to comply with you. Force people to comply with you by threatening them. Threatening what? Do this or else. Do what or else? You're going to get me to do anything because you say you're going to release what information? I don't even give a damn if you did have information. That would not stop me from pursuing my rights. And I know one damn thing for sure. Young Pharaoh's not going to be dissuaded from pursuing his rights either. I have one final thank you to Buck Bernice. I didn't even know Mona's legal name until Buck Bernice dropped it in a chat. Mona was hollering and screaming that she's doxing me. She's doxing me. Who's doxing you? She's saying that Bernice was in the chat doxing her. And I'm in there going, where? I don't know what I was even looking for. Where are her messages? Somebody else had to go in and show me because I have her blocked. Are they talking about this message? Somebody sent me a message and it had your name, Alexis A. But they had the whole name. I'm like, huh? Guess when that was, people? 2023. I didn't even know your legal name. So much for you fools are running around here thinking I told Mona everything. I didn't tell her anything. I trusted my two sources who told me rock out with the Umar Johnson. Go full steam ahead, but do not give her personal information that you do not want repeated. She was the one that told me a bunch of information. I don't see any reason why she would just up and tell me her legal name, but she sure as hell told me a lot of other things. Sure did. Listen, folks, I'm going to continue to bring you the facts, the plain, simple, straightforward facts, including assisting young Pharaoh in any way he needs. And there's someone else who was asking for my assistance who Mona looked up, whose name I will not say at this time. But you know one damn thing for sure, I'll be back to bring things front and center as always. Buyer beware.